Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, can I analyze the case of Malachi Love Robinson? Love Robinson is a man who impersonated a physician in Florida and ended up going to prison for that action. Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and consider supporting me on Patreon. I'll put the link to Patreon in the description for this video. At the center of the story is a man named Malachi Love Robinson, who, as I understand it, is not any type of doctor. I want to clarify what's meant by the term doctor, as it comes up several times in this story. This term is used to refer to anyone who has a doctoral degree, a doctorate. Among other degree holders, this would include PhDs, a doctor of philosophy, and MDs, a medical doctor. In this case, the type of doctor Love Robinson was pretending to be, for the most part, was a physician, a medical doctor, an MD. In 2015, when Love Robinson was 17 years old, he posed as a physician in a hospital in West Palm Beach, Florida. He wandered around the hospital wearing a physician's coat bearing the hospital's logo, and on the other side, it had his name with various credentials. He walked into various exam rooms and offered advice to patients during his time there. Physicians reported that Love Robinson was initially very convincing, but they were suspicious about how he appeared to be extremely young. The police were contacted and Love Robinson was arrested, but he was never charged. Not long after this, he was sent a cease and desist letter by the Department of Health indicating that he was pretending to be a physician in a role he had as a therapist at a rehabilitation clinic. Undeterred, Love Robinson opened an illegal medical practice in West Palm Beach that went by the name New Birth, New Life Medical Center and Urgent Care. His business even had its own website. It contained claims of alternative healing methods. It also indicated that Love Robinson was 25 years old and one of his specialties was mental health. In addition, he also pretended to be a gynecologist. An 86-year-old patient found the website when she was looking for a physician to treat stomach pain. She called and talked to Love Robinson, who offered to come out to her residence. After examining her, he diagnosed her with arthritis and sold her natural vitamins. He would return to her house 4 more times. During these visits, he stole her checks and would eventually steal over $34,000 from her. I guess he diagnosed her with too much money disorder and was really just trying to alleviate her symptoms. Unrelated to this theft, an anonymous tip came into the police about Love Robinson's so-called clinic. The police sent an undercover officer to the clinic, and Love Robinson examined her. He was arrested. He was 18 years old this time. He had been operating the clinic for 3 months. An investor actually helped him start the clinic. Eventually, he would admit to the police that the degrees he had displayed on the wall of his office were fake, but he tried to say that he never actually claimed to be a medical doctor. He was using the term doctor because he had received a PhD, but as it turns out, he was lying about that as well. One fake degree that he had was a PhD from some guy in Colorado. It wasn't from a real college. It wasn't a college at all. Another degree he was referencing wasn't actually a PhD. It was a Doctor of Divinity, otherwise known as a DD, and it was available for sale on the seminary's website for about $30. The website said after buying the degree, you will be legally entitled to use the title doctor in front of your name and the initials DD after your name. Just the fact that they have to explain to the buyer where the different initials go tells you something about the quality of the so-called degree. It's like if somebody was buying a Ferrari and the salesperson had to tell them, the keys don't go in the cigarette lighter, they go in the ignition. So Love Robinson wasn't a PhD either. I'll never understand this with these fake degrees. If somebody's going to buy a fraudulent degree, at least buy the degree that matches the fraud. In addition to fraudulently using the letters PhD after his name, he also had letters after his name that didn't mean anything. They didn't correspond to any profession. It's pretty bad when somebody committing fraud can't even bother to claim real credentials. Love Robinson would later claim that he was simply the program director of his clinic and he wasn't actually delivering medical services personally. In January of 2018, at 20 years of age, he pleaded guilty to practicing medicine without a license and other charges like theft and fraud. He was sentenced to 3.5 years in prison. In a matter unrelated to this case, he pleaded guilty to felony fraud charges in Virginia. He had used his godmother's identity to buy a car, specifically a $35,000 Jaguar. He also committed some fraud to obtain electronic devices like a cell phone. He served time in Virginia for those crimes prior to being sentenced in Florida. At some point after Love Robinson was released from prison in September of 2019, he went to work for a shipping company in Delray Beach, Florida, using the name Alex Robinson. He was arrested for theft and fraud after he allegedly created dummy accounts and diverted customers' money directly to those accounts. Investigators said he stole more than $10,000. He has stated that he is trying to pay the money back and he doesn't want to go to jail. Love Robinson has made a number of unusual statements throughout this interesting journey that he's been on. A few examples. He said, "This was not about me trying to hurt people. This was not about me trying to say I'm a medical doctor, because honestly, people have misconstrued my name. They misconstrued my age. They've misconstrued where I'm from. They've misconstrued everything about me." I find that statement curious because that was the point. He was misleading people. He's blaming the people that he manipulated for being manipulated by him. It's like he's saying, "How dare you keep letting me commit crimes against you?" During another interview, he indicated that he held a PhD, but he wasn't comfortable disclosing what the degree was in. Yet on another occasion, he said he had a PhD in alternative and holistic medicine and another PhD in science and theology. The reporter responded to him, "Don't you have to go to college to get a PhD?" He said he had attended 2 colleges, but he did not feel comfortable disclosing the names. On another occasion, he said that physicians were in awe of him because of his passion for helping people and that he had shadowed multiple physicians. Now, on this claim of shadowing, he wasn't technically incorrect. He shadowed those physicians back at that hospital in 2015. It was under false pretenses, but it was still shadowing. So what could be going on in a case like this? A few potential characteristics may be at work here. Love Robinson appears to like attention. He is deceptive, but he does not track his lies well enough to be convincing in the long run. He may be sensation-seeking. He deflects blame, dodges the subject, dances around questions without answering them. He likes the sense of authority and accomplishment that come with being any type of doctor. He seems to be fascinated by proving his legitimacy as the holder of doctoral degrees, but he hasn't done any of the work to be a legitimate professional of any type. He seems to have an affinity for items that indicate high status. In addition to fake doctoral degrees, he committed that fraud involving the luxury car. He creates this sense of self-importance, this grandiosity, like when he was being interviewed after his arrest, and he said there was a team of attorneys working around the clock to resolve the issue. Yet at that time, the press hadn't heard from even one attorney, although eventually he would be represented by an attorney. Love Robinson seems to like a fast pace. In his early 20s, he's already committed more crimes than most people commit in a lifetime. He does not appear to be discouraged by punishment. He was no sooner out of prison, and he was placed under arrest again. He does not appear to understand how people view him. He can't see things from the perspective of others. There is a lack of insight. It's hard to imagine that he didn't understand when he stole money, people might notice it missing. It's almost like he believed he could do whatever he wanted with impunity. There's no sense that he has an end game, like what is his plan? Is he just going to keep stealing and hope that people don't notice? He doesn't seem to have any compassion or empathy for his multiple victims. Even if he wanted to believe in this fantasy that he has a doctorate, what justified stealing the money? I think what it comes down to here with Love Robinson is that he wants everything to be exactly his way and is willing to invest energy in lying, cheating, and manipulating to get it, but not willing to work through legitimate channels. He has no respect for the system. It is a sense of entitlement. He deserves the qualifications without actually earning them. I think the lesson learned from Love Robinson is how some people are willing to do anything to feel important. Most people who do not have a qualification would not pretend that they did, even though others might temporarily be impressed by their title if they did so. Inside, they would know they did not earn it. Their integrity, authenticity, and their sense of shame would prevent them from fraudulently taking that title. When that mechanism is broken, bypassed, or deactivated, when there is no integrity, when there is no sense of honor, when people cannot experience shame or they're not motivated by feeling shame, the result is someone who is capable of committing unusual crimes. Love Robinson appears to be somewhat intelligent, but with no insight, authenticity, or empathy. He has the potential to be a particularly dangerous con artist. Those are my thoughts on Malachi Love Robinson. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comments section. They always generate an interesting dialogue. As always, I hope you found my analysis of this topic to be interesting. Thanks for watching.